luxury, that attention to detail, it's intentional.
It's an experience. It should have the timeless aspect. Every detail speaks luxury.
It's the experience within a property that really gives it that luxury feel, that luxury lifestyle.
Design and innovation go hand in hand.
Innovation and design is exactly the same, but you add on it the beautiful side of doing things.
Home should still be a home. I don't think anybody wants to live in an Apple shop, right?
Keep things smart but simple. I like to change houses into homes.
Very ultra high net worth people want to feel safe. They want their families to be safe in the UAE.
More millionaires are moving here. That goes to show the pull factors that we have here. 15.5 million dirhams for a 1-year rental.
Wow.
It's the biggest rental transaction Dubai's ever seen.
That's interesting in terms of off-plan market.
Every house is bespoke. Every house is unique to the owner.
I believe luxury will be more customizable.
Reflective of your values and your intentions.
It's not just a repetition. It's an experience.
You've given me goosebumps. Welcome back to Beyond the Surface, brought to you by Design Studio by Huzaifa. I'm Helen Farmer, your host on this journey through the luxury landscape where design and innovation converge. Today we have a lineup of experts who not only shape trends in their respective fields, but are redefining what luxury means in the modern world, especially when it comes to our homes. So delighted to welcome to our table today, we have fantastic Sawsan Haber, the visionary behind dipiugi interior architecture, renowned for her sophisticated residential designs that showcase timeless elegance, really specializing in luxurious interiors that speak volumes of her purest vision of interior architecture. Her approach beautifully integrates personal style with high-end design, making each project uniquely reflective of its home and its inhabitants too. And also joining us, we've got Richard Waind, the CEO of BetterHomes. They manage the UAE's largest portfolio of private and commercial properties with over 8,500 units under them. And under Rick's leadership, BetterHomes has not only flourished in traditional real estate markets, but has also pioneered innovations in luxury property management by starting Prime by BetterHomes. It also runs Dubai's top 50 homes interior design competition for luxury real estate. We're going to be delving into what makes a winner. I'm so happy to have you with us today, and thank you so much for your time. This idea of luxury, I find it quite intangible in some ways. So maybe that's what we can start with. What does luxury mean to you? Can you explain it?
Luxury these days is, you feel it's overused. Anyone who wants to sell a product, anyone who wants to showcase and rank a certain entity, they name it as luxury.
Especially in Dubai.
Yes. That is the place for that.
But not everything is luxury.
Exactly. Luxury to me is a combination of many things. It's an experience to start with. And we cannot define something as luxurious just by the look of it. It should have different aspects. It should have the timeless aspect, because when it's luxury, it has to stay and it has to fight time. It should have the aesthetic that also when you look at it, you can feel that luxurious feel. But also it should have this high-end finishing, even if it's a small piece of furniture or if it's a huge mansion. You need to feel that every detail, every corner speaks luxury.
It's considered. It's that attention to detail. It's intentional.
Exactly.
And I would say, property market absolutely throws that word around. It's all about, luxury 1-bed apartment all the way to, luxury 8-bed mansion. Do you feel like there is a quality where you can come in with your expert eye, Rick, and go, actually, that place has it?
I agree. I think it's overused. Certainly in Dubai real estate, everything has luxury in front of it. Every real estate broker seems to have luxury in front of their title. They might have only been here 2 minutes as well. But for us, look, sometimes we have to try and put things or define things a little bit. So Prime, we tend to take our luxury division from a value of over 15 million dirhams. So that gives us a little bit of an idea when we're talking about luxury and price. However, as we said, it is all about experience, and it's the experience within a property that really gives it that luxury feel, that luxury lifestyle. And it can be smaller properties. It can be 1-beds, 2-beds, absolutely. So,
Tell us a little bit about design and luxury, and I guess innovation. That's what we're talking about today. How do design and innovation go hand in hand? And if you've got any examples of work you've done with clients, I'd love to hear them.
When we say innovation, innovation is basically finding a solution for a problem or enhancing a certain solution that exists. And for me, design is exactly the same, but what you add on it the aesthetic side, the beautiful side of doing things. When we're dealing these days with innovation in homes, it's a totally different experience than if you're using innovation in commercial spaces or in hospitality spaces, because in homes, you cannot be as bold or as wild as if you're working, let's say, in hospitality, because hospitality, the story has to be different.
Yeah, a brand identity, experiential in a different way. And that might be 2 hours of someone's time, whereas a home is that sanctuary.
Exactly. So when you're creating a home, the home, even though it should have all this latest, let's say, innovation, of course, if the clients love that, because not all clients love to have in their houses the latest innovation. Some, they like the home to be really home, even if the style is new, but they like it. They like the experience to be like a kind of old-fashioned way. Some. Others, they are into smart homes, into new innovations, into introducing the latest in the market. But at the same time, we try to use it in a way that is behind the scenes. So when you enter a home, you feel it is a home. You don't feel it's like a public space,
or it's
luxurious.
Or it's confusing, or there's distractions. Are you seeing this in terms of what people are asking for, Rick, when they're coming to you, whether that's for rental or for buying? What's on a typical wish list right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, it depends on who you're talking to, but there's a lot of people looking at the smart home element side of things, sustainability side of things.
Are they really?
Yeah, more and more so. I think we are a little bit behind other parts of the world, frankly, when it comes to sustainability, but we are certainly seeing that move into, and in some of the newer developments.
Interesting, because I feel like that is for many people a nice to have. It's not a big thrust, but it's the smart homes, absolutely. And I think actually sustainability kind of dovetails into that quite nicely when we think about automated lighting and kind of some of the technology there. But with smart homes, what are some of the smartest things you've seen in Dubai real estate? What other kind of gadgets and gizmos are happening?
You can sort of smart anything in a home these days, from fridges that will do the shopping for you to, baths that will run themselves at your perfect temperature at the time of day you want it to happen. So, it really is. And as you say, though, a home should still be a home. I don't think anybody wants to live in an Apple shop, right? In my view. So it has to be something that isn't intrusive. It's something that enhances the experience and doesn't make you feel that you're living in a sort of sterilized...
Or one of those hotel rooms where you can never find the last light switch.
Because
there's just too many.
Or how to turn the AC off, So
exactly.
you struggle. This is what we try to implement, to keep things smart but simple.
Can I ask, Sawsan, for you to kind of explain a little bit about how a client works with you and demystify that process? Because a lot of people think about working with a designer or with an architect, and it feels like something that other people might do. It can feel, it isn't aspirational, it is a luxury decision. But I'd love you to explain, if someone comes to you with a room or a home or a space in mind, how do you work together to collaborate to create the ultimate result?
To me, it's this interaction and this connection between the designer and the client is extremely important. Because these days, when you're offering to your client an experience, you need to understand their way of thinking. You need to understand their character. You need to have exactly what kind of person you are catering for.
And maybe they won't have the language of design as well. So interpreting what they want without them even realizing, perhaps.
Yes, because many, they know what they want in terms of experience, but they don't know what they want in terms of, sometimes they don't know what they want in terms of style or in terms of what is the best way to do things. They just tell you, okay, we like that, we love this, but you're the expert. And when I deal with the clients, because these days there is so many different type of clients, and especially here in UAE, we are in a very diversified city where you have so many nationalities, so many backgrounds. So each client has needs a totally different approach. And if I'm gonna be more, let's say, more specific, I give my client different options. And I try to be very clear and very transparent from the beginning. Because I believe that doing this, you make the problems that you're gonna face later on less and less. So let's say from the beginning, you have to be clear about how long this project is gonna take.
Expectations.
You know, because many designers and many fit-out contractors, they come and say, okay, we will finish this in 3 months' time. But the reality, that same project is gonna take with them maybe 1 year and 3 months' time. It's not even a small delay. It will be sometimes a huge delay. And this will bring frustration and so many other things. For us in dipiugi, I prefer to lose a project by being very frank, very honest from the beginning about the time, about the budget, about the expectations that can be done with that certain architecture, because each villa and each space has certain challenges. So not all the ideas can be done. We cannot say yes to everything a client desires.
It's like when you go to the hairdressers and you show them a picture and they go, you're never going to look like that.
Exactly.
That's not a problem I actually have.
How do you balance then if a client comes to you with an idea with, they've got their Pinterest board, they've got their magazine clippings, and you go, oh, it doesn't really fit with my vision, and it maybe is, you find it's not to your taste because you have your own reputation, you've got your own portfolio to think about. How can you steer, or would it be a case of saying, I wish you luck with this project, but I'm not the designer for you?
I never faced something like that. I think only once, and I faced it on a later phase during the project, not at the beginning. Because usually at the beginning, any client with any brief, we have the ability to try to take the best out of the style he's showing us, even if the style is not
your
good,
style. Yeah.
Not my style, not up to the standard. But we try to find something that is very similar, but elevated. This is where we interfere and we propose to keep that style they like, but in a higher way.
And it's working with someone and understanding that you are both on the same team and you're working towards a common beautiful goal. You've been here 24 years now in the region. What trends or patterns have you noticed over the years, whether that is demographic of client or color palette or even neighborhoods in Dubai that you're working on?
Yes, I think I faced all the phases of Dubai and all the kind of clients. I believe the first 10 years when I was here, the clients were different. So the majority of the clients who were willing to invest in their homes were the UAE nationalities. So because for them, this is their country, this is the home they are building that they want to stay in and invest in. So the majority were locals. But then after that, it started slowly to go into expat. And I'm going to say the last less than 10 years, maybe 8 years, it became more and more like billionaires, millionaires that are willing to come and invest and consider UAE as their second home. So those houses became their main houses. And I knew people who lived here for such a long time, and they never thought of investing in a house until after COVID. So I think COVID, it was like the main turning point for expats to start investing in their homes in UAE.
Rick, you're nodding along to this because certainly 2024, we saw record number of transactions going through. I think June was the biggest month the UAE property market's ever seen.
I think it was then surpassed in November. But
Really?
Yeah. And it'll get surpassed again early next year, I've no doubt. And the other thing, it goes to what you're saying as well. We're also seeing record number of people moving here.
And
that's
record
what's
numbers
driving it.
of millionaires moving here.
Yes.
And not just for financial reasons. I think, very ultra high net worth people want to feel safe. They want their families to be safe. And the UAE is incredibly, for that environment, it's amazing. So what have you seen then? You've been coming up to a decade now, Rick. And you've just, I believe, had a record rental transaction going through. Tell us about that.
We have. So, look, we're seeing lots and lots of people moving here. In terms of high net worth moving here, we expect about 6,000 high net worth individuals to relocate and become residents in Dubai in 2024. To put that into perspective, that'll be higher than any other country in the world. It'll be about 4,000 for the US. And I always say this to people, there's 380 million people in the USA. We have 3.8 million people, and more millionaires are moving here to our little emirate than they are there. So that goes to show quite the pull factors that we have here.
And what are they looking for? Where are they wanting to be, and what's on that wish list?
The great thing is they've got lots and lots of choice now, because what we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years is a real explosion in options for people at that sort of level as well. But you asked me a specific question.
I want to know about this record-breaking rental.
Yeah, so leasing, our local team manager, Tony, was working with a client for about 8 months. So these things don't happen overnight. And they rented a villa to this family on Jumeirah Bay Island, and it's 15.5 million dirhams for a 1-year rental. Wow. So yeah, it's the biggest rental transaction Dubai's ever seen. We're very proud of it, and it was a great deal. But again, you think about, this is a family who will be looking to purchase probably in that area, somewhere between 250 and 300.
So they're trying before they buy.
Right? And
tell us about that property. What makes it so special?
Oh, it's incredible. It's an incredible property. But not only was it an incredible property, it was a shell and core property that we worked with the family moving in on the design aspects of it. So they brought in a Swedish interior designer who worked in the property for 3 or 4 months before they took it on. So there was a lot that went behind a deal like that.
And all this for the rent.
For 1 year's rent, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 1 year's rent. And maybe it will be a try before you buy. Maybe they'll purchase that property afterwards. But
that's interesting in terms of that off-plan market as well, because as we're saying, we get architects and designers involved at various stages in projects. When it comes to the off-plan market here, what innovations are we seeing there? Because we're seeing different parts of Dubai, really explode. We're seeing obviously Dubai South and that expo space, but also we're seeing more along the coastline as well. What are we seeing when it comes to off-plan? What are some developers working on that's got you excited?
So, it's not just the coastline. Anything with waterfront now is sort of really key in the luxury space. So even places like downtown, around the canal, there's a lot of activities, a lot of new luxury developments going on. There's lots of large linear developments, so full floor penthouses in the full building. So Volante is a really good example. Volante 2, which will just be 19 stories of full floor penthouses, which are very, very exciting. There's more and more things. We spoke earlier briefly about sustainability, and I think there is more of a push towards environmentally connected buildings. Again, Ewa is a good example in Business Bay.
There's a lot of lagoons. I'm seeing on a lot of billboards. Dubai seems to be loving a lagoon.
Yeah, again, so if you're
it's a selling tool.
From a villa point of view, again, waterfront and lagoons, man-made lagoons, District 1, Tlal Gath, there's lots of them happening.
At the beginning of Dubai starting this real estate boom and starting to sell to non-local people, it was one of the tools is like to have a villa with a lake view. So it was always like when you're in a community, so either there is a few things: park view, lake view, or neighborhood view.
Yeah, community view.
Or community view. So
electricity lines view.
Yeah, just a few pylons.
It started that simple,
That's right.
But then, of course, now it's like with the new development, with all these things, you can feel how it's going high and higher. And this is amazing. And this is part of attracting all those people and attracting millionaires and billionaires. And this is why the wheel now is really running in a beautiful way. And everyone has a share in this market. So it's not a market that has, let's say, strict competition For me, I believe there is a room for everyone, whatever is the field, real estate, interior, anything related to our field. There is room for everyone. They will find work, and they will excel, and they will shine.
That entrepreneurial spirit, I think, coming to the fore time and time again.
Amazing. And this is honestly something that gathered positive energy around the city, around the country. And I really love that, because even when we have competition, we wish the best to the other. You know, we I don't know, I'm talking about us as interior designer. I don't know about real estate,
No,
or
I
if they are
think
losing
that's-
deals or something. Sometimes it's tricky. But when it comes to interior design at our field, maybe this is how I see it. I don't know if others, they see me the same way. I become so happy when I see one of my competition doing a great project and handing over something amazing, because I feel, wow, this is another step to enhance the market, to enhance that environment.
When one does well, everyone
Exactly.
does well.
So-
let's talk competition, actually, because just recently we were talking about the Dubai's top 50 homes according to BetterHomes. Tell us a little bit about some of the trends you were noticing there. What was the judging? And obviously, we want to hear who came out on top, Rick.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to prefix this with it's not according to BetterHomes.
Okay.
So,
Good. Before you get into
so
any
some
trouble.
of my clients out there who didn't win. So we set up Prime by BetterHomes as our luxury arm about three and a half years ago, and that was just in response to the growing luxury market we had over here. BetterHomes has been in the market nearly 40 years, and we're sort of ubiquitous. And we really thought our high net worth clients needed that special attention, real focus. And that's what Prime really brings to that market, which is great. And when you're launching something new into the market, you think, how can we make a bit of noise? What can we do? Something a little bit different. And a good friend of mine, Victoria Thatcher, who owns Hot Media, we were having, as most great ideas come around, with a glass of wine and a barbecue. And we thought, why don't we do a competition? You know, Dubai's top 50 homes. And we set it up. We've just done our second year. We have a panel of 5 judges this year. From an architect, Adrian, and we've got a landscape designer. We've got Anam Clark from the designer studio, and Caroline Boucher, who's a model and influencer. So they're the judges.
Rick said stepping away from any...
And the
We
process...
should change them next year.
Yeah, we will.
Maybe it should be us next year.
Absolutely. I recused myself from the judging process.
Very wise and diplomatic.
It's great fun. It's really, really good. And it's open to anybody. Crucially, it's open to any homeowner who wants to get involved. It's open to any designer who wants to get involved. There's no fee to join. There's no, we're not selling tables at the event or anything like that. So it really is, it's open to anybody.
In different categories, Rick?
Yeah, so we extended the categories this year. So there's an overall winner. And then we have apartments category, we have a villas under 4 bedrooms category, and then we have mansions 5-6 beds and above. And then we have some subcategories, so best kitchen, best landscaping. We had best staircase this year, just because
I like that.
we had these incredible staircases coming. And okay, the rest of the property might not win an award, but actually we really wanted just to
like knockout features.
it's so incredible.
Any slides? I feel like I keep on seeing articles about, New York penthouses and London renovations, and everyone seems to like a slide.
No, I want to get
Maybe
one
next
of my
year.
offices,
You could do
but
fun features.
Fun features.
What any weird features? So you get photos and going, wow, why would someone put that in their home? Or, kind of real futuristic
No, but I tell
stuff.
you one we had last year, which was, I loved it. I thought it was great. Somebody who'd taken a container off the back of a lorry. And I guess this is quite sustainable. They turned it upside down and made it into a swimming pool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was built in, so the garden was sort of sloping down. So it wasn't a big container. It actually fitted into the slope, which I
That's
thought was
very
really
cool.
cool, right?
Has anyone, because this is what I would do if funds were unlimited, has anyone done the old secret room bookcase that turns?
Yes,
Yeah,
I've done
you?
this. Yes.
Okay, tell us more. A secret shoe room would be nice.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I've done this many times. Some of them behind paintings. Some of them, it's like you have this beautiful mirror with a nice frame, but you have the lock from the back where you enter to a totally different room. Yes, we have.
What happens if husband or wife doesn't tell the other one about the secret shoe room?
I'm sure he will know, or she would know.
There were all these rumors in UK architecture and real estate years ago about people coming into homes that were maybe older or bigger homes than they'd had before. Maybe they've come into money and there would be a library. And it's like this idea of we've never read any of the books and we'll buy books
Just
by the
having.
meter.
Honestly, I don't really face that. Most of the clients I work with, I try to give them the experience, not to show off, the experience to actually live. And if the house is beautiful, it will be a show off, without even putting certain elements just as a show. So like many of the clients I work with and many of the projects we have done, it has like different, let's say, different features that makes it special due to also different lifestyle.
And solving
different
problems
requests.
as well. Yeah.
Yes, at the beginning, I believe we used to work a lot on solving architectural problem as interior designers, because we didn't have in UAE, let's say, if we're gonna talk about the 2000 until 2010, we didn't have this really high-end architectural firm consultant that are doing residential. It was mainly those kind of firms doing, let's say, hotels or commercial projects. But when it came to residential, it was just small consultant and also not well paid. So the project they used to do, it was all like standard and copies and
the execution
small windows and so many architectural problems. So when we take the house and we want to enhance it, we had to work a lot in terms of even changing the windows locations or creating elements to hide a pillar or a beam or something like that.
I find it amazing that you could go into a space and see it in a completely different way. The imagination involved, I find just so impressive. I really do. I was going to give you 25 million dirhams to spend on property in Dubai today. Where are you going and what are you buying?
That's a difficult. I'll tell you where I'd love to buy, Helen, is where we live.
I know.
In Jumeirah.
However,
and I'll suffer that, but we can't.
I regret marrying for love and not a different passport, because otherwise I'd be buying in Jumeirah as well.
maybe this will be available in the future.
Well, let's manifest that.
Yeah.
So I agree. Close to the beach.
Close to the beach.
Homely.
Absolutely. Big plot sizes. In those plot sizes, frankly, you don't really get so much these days with some of the newer developments. But other things I'll be looking at, we haven't really touched on it, but some of the entries into the market from branded residences at the moment are very, very exciting. Miami was the branded residence capital. It's now Dubai. And I think some of the branded residences, we're talking about experience, that's what you're buying into there, right?
From walking through the door to the concierge.
To the kitchen access, to you're buying into a lifestyle. And I think we've said experience a lot between us. And I think if we look at trends of luxury real estate, it's not so much just big and brash and a sign of wealth. It's about the experience that you're living in, a little bit more understated. And actually, I want a property that really enhances my life. And I think that's the future.
But also branding, as he mentioned, is becoming the real end thing here. So not only branding with like big real estate companies, but also branding with fashion designers, branding
I've seen
with
watch designers and
exactly. Let's say any luxurious brand around the world, even if it's car brand or furniture brand, you feel that the real estate market is becoming connected directly to uplifting
aspirational brands.
Yes.
So those collaborations.
Yeah. So when you're buying also not only home, but it's a branded home. Same like you buy a branded watch or a branded piece of furniture or a branded car. So it's becoming more and more that. And I think developers are using this as a tool as well of selling.
Yeah, that point of difference.
Yeah. I'm just scared of one thing, if I can mention this, because this branding thing started not long time ago, maybe 4 or 5 years And so most of those branded units are not yet handed over. And from previous experience, I don't know if you will agree with me on that. Previously, some of the developers, when they handed over a project, it wasn't up to the standard that they have promised to the client. And I'm talking big names. I'm not just talking the small developers. I'm talking about big names. When you go and you buy off plan and they show you the finish, they show you a prototype or a mock-up, and they tell you, this is how you will have your villa or your apartment. But at the time when you will go and you receive your property, the finish is not up to the standard. It's not what you have seen. Maybe it's similar. Maybe the material is similar, what you have selected, but it's finished in a very bad way. And this is where and why so many people today in very known properties, they come, they buy the house, they put the house all down, they get someone like me or better than me or less than me, and they ask to change the whole thing, not only for the design and the experience, but also for the finish, because the quality is not there. So unfortunately, hope that this will be rectified with all the new projects that will be handed over soon in the market and are branded. Because I believe if it's branded, also the brand wants to make sure that there is a certain standard because their name is involved. So
I fully agree. And I think, we have got a history in Dubai of issues on delivery, both in times and then quality. I think that is changing. It has changed over the last few years. Some of the branded residences that have been handed over, take things like the Four Seasons, have been handed over and have been exceptionally well received. And that needs to continue. And it's really important. So I don't think all properties are the same in Dubai and all branded residences are not the same. So if I was looking to invest in it, I'd be thinking, who's the developer behind it?
Absolutely.
What have they delivered before?
Yeah, due diligence.
Is this a branding partnership that we can see elsewhere in the world, and we can then go and have a look and see this is what it's going to be handed over like? And thirdly, what are you actually getting from that brand? Is it an experience? Is this a part of a hospitality offering?
Or just a name.
Or is it just a name? And if it is just a name, that can be okay if it brings the style and the aesthetics of it and the quality, but make sure it's a name with real heritage, because that will ensure, if you've got a, Mercedes-Benz, for example, I'm just pulling a name out, that's a heritage brand. They're going to make sure this is going to get delivered.
When it comes to resale, that quality, that luxury will be timeless, to borrow your phrase. Yeah. Rick, I worked in real estate back in the UK in a part of the world where there are a lot of football or soccer players.
Yep.
There was some pretty questionable taste. And I used to love getting the photos back about, purple snooker rooms and very kind of themed OTT projects. Can we talk a little bit more about the weird and wonderful that you've seen, whether that was through the submissions for the competition or indeed just when you're going out for viewings? Yeah,
absolutely. Look, the submissions were fantastic. And I think we had 300 plus submissions, which showed the sort of breadth of design and delivery here in Dubai, which was fantastic. We've seen some fairly weird and wonderful things in our time. I was an estate agent in London for 16 years before coming out here. And you see some weird and wonderful things here and then just 10x it when you bring it into Dubai, right? So I've seen big cat enclosures in the garden, rightly or wrongly. I've seen a snow room.
What do you mean a snow room?
A room where it snows 24 hours a day.
Is this a health and wellness thing or like a fun thing?
If I'm brutally honest, it's a total waste of time thing.
And not very sustainable in the desert.
No, but it was good fun. I mean, who doesn't want a snowball fight in their basement, right? So
nightclubs and
I've seen
socializing.
Nightclubs. I've seen those hidden rooms we're talking about, sometimes with one-way mirrors, all sorts of fun things.
Gosh.
As you'd expect. One of the things I saw recently, which I loved, is a friend of mine who's just finished his villa in Al Safo, and he's built a 3-story atrium for his birds, and it's an indoor rainforest. So think Green Planet,
like a mini biodome.
It's insane. It is insane, and he's got he tried to do it as sustainably as possible. So he's got the solar panels and everything like that. He's recycling water in there. But it's just this space.
The only limit is your imagination.
And it's 3 stories, and you can hear the parrots.
Gosh,
and you've got frogs, and it's incredible.
And this is when, like customization and passion and who you are as a person really interact and is like showing in the space you are living
Because
in.
it has to be an expression of yourself. I think we've all walked into homes and felt like you are in a hotel, and it's been a bit anonymous and stark and sterile. Whereas you want to come in and have an idea of, who you are, and that can be art on the wall or a beautifully designed piece of furniture or how things come together with an expert eye, but it has to really feel like a home. So which I think must have been quite challenging when it comes to the judging because, taste is so subjective. We haven't talked about the winning entry, Rick. Who did come out on top and why?
The winning entry is a villa in Dubai Hills. It's called the House of Courtyards. It's designed by a chap called Deepak. He's an Indian architect. And he flew out, bless him, he flew over his 50th birthday. So he got in a lot of trouble from his family.
What a present, though.
I know, and he
trophy.
flew over and bless him, he won and we sang happy birthday to him and it was great. But
the House of Courtyards?
It's the House of Courtyards. So it's, you can see it on the website. It's Dubai's top 50 homes and it's an incredible building. It stands out from everything else I've ever seen in Dubai Hills. It's very much bringing the aesthetics and the feel of the desert into the home. It has a subterranean aqua courtyard. So think underground, spa, water. It's just incredible. And then there's 4 or 5 different outdoor courtyard spaces throughout it. And when you're looking from one to the other, it's almost translucent throughout the whole of the downstore property. So it's a very, very unique place. But crucially, when you walk into this, and you mentioned hotels, I don't want to live in a hotel. I walked into this, I want to live here. This has, it's mind-blowingly, crazily cool and wonderful, but it felt really homely as well.
And this is what makes a home a beautiful home also. It's when it's like the fruit of its environment, but at the same time, a reflection of the persons living in it. And this is like a strong combo that can give something and a flavor really special to a certain home and will rank it and will make it looks much more impressive than another home.
So then do you have a project that you look back on with a lot of pride and a lot of love out of the many that you've done over the nearly 25 years? Maybe one that you didn't want to say goodbye to and you would have liked to move in yourself?
This is funny, but most of my projects, when I work on it so hard for, let's say, sometimes you work on a project for 4 months, but other project, it takes 1 or 2 years until completion. So there is this connection between me and the project. And it's like when it's handed over, it's like your baby is being taken from you. So I start finding, any excuse to just go there, maybe take a small gift.
Flowers.
Yeah, sometimes I will mention, I saw this ash tree. I thought it will look really nice. So I thought I want to come.
You're not ready to say goodbye.
No, I do this. And I don't know if the clients notice that or not. But for me, I just want to go there and just sit there because I miss the house. I miss that wall. I miss that design here. I miss that lighting. So every single corner, you feel I get attached to it. And what's nice in all this journey till now is that each project we have done has a totally different flavor than the other. Even though you can tell, or maybe you cannot tell that, this is dipiugi's, but it's never the same style. It's never even the same color combination or the same material used or the same detail used. We try always to change, even though many other designers, they just repeat the same.
Copy paste,
because it's easier. You have everything there, especially because we use AutoCAD, all the softwares, you have all the blocks ready. It's much easier. And it will save you time, will make more money if you just copy paste and then make it very similar. I don't work for this. I work because This is my passion.
I can tell.
And I like to change houses into homes. So this is from where everything starts. And to be able to change a house into a home, so there is many things involved, from the design concept to the material used, to be able to portray the experience the client wants in the best detailing and the best way.
What's your own home like? Because that must be very tempting to be changing things all the time when you're inspired by another space or another influence.
Yes, my home is really a story that when I moved to that house, I live in Al Barari, and I moved to, it's a nest. Those houses are architecturally beautiful because it has a lot of light that goes inside the house. And specifically that house that I bought, because the location, how it's directed to the sunrise and the sunset, is extremely amazing. So we have light all over the 24 hours, how it goes in and goes out of the house. And also it's surrounded with too much greenery because it's in Al Barari. So when I moved to the house, it was a bit challenging because usually you have the brief from your client and you work according to the brief, and then you end up doing something amazing and you give the experience that the client wants. But here, there is me, my family, my husband, my kids, my mom. So there's many people involved, in this house. And at the same time, I'm the designer. It's the designer's house. So I wanted to look like me and my aspirations. All started like I wanted it to be an extension and the connection between the outdoor and the indoor. And I wanted as well to use the sunlight that goes inside the house, to use it in a clever way by putting certain elements and having their shadows on the floor, on the walls, and see that change during the day, and you feel that the house is talking to you. You feel the shadows are dancing, there is a communication. Like if you pass in the morning, it's totally different than when you pass in the same corridor during noontime, or if it's the sunset. And I just love this. And most of the items in that house, it's related and connected to me. Why? Because I'm a person who's very connected to nature, very connected to God's creations. So I wanted also to have those few things in the house, but without having it in terms of the actual element. Like, for example, I wanted to have water inside the house, but I didn't want to put a fountain. I wanted the feel of water. For example, my flooring in the ground floor is so glossy. It's grayish and so glossy, and you feel it's wet. You feel as if you're walking on water. And I put on it a bench, beautiful white bench that feels like a cloud. So when you look and you see the reflection and you see how everything's going, you feel it. You feel nature. You feel the cloud. You feel the water without actually having water or having a cloud.
Giving me goosebumps. It sounds so beautiful.
For me, it's so beautiful when you know the story and when you know how each piece is a reflection and a reflection. Like, it's really amazing.
Your kids must have no idea how lucky they are.
But it sounds like it fits so well into Al Barari because that's such a special place, right? It's the one place in Dubai where as soon as you come off the 311...
Oh, you're like in the jungle. And your shoulders just drop.
I mean, Bali or Sri Lanka or somewhere like that.
I love that.
I think it's Camilla Zal, who's actually one of the top 50 homes judges. She did a lot of the design on the landscaping. It's incredible.
Yes, I believe they did a great job there. And especially that the plots are quite big. They are not small plots. I don't know now in the next phase, maybe there are smaller plots, but let's say if I'm talking about the nest, you have a big plot and the spaces inside the house architecturally are really nice because you have this big windows, high ceiling, high doors. So you feel everything is spacious. And it's a nice playground and nice canvas to create and to put something in there.
That's where you could spend that 25 million.
Let's do that.
Asking me about.
Let's go shopping. I'm glad you mentioned your children there because that must be quite an interesting one when you've got a family home to design. Have you done much in terms of, things for little tots and teens as well.
This is what's nice about the house, that when you enter, each room is a reflection of the person living in it. If it was my son or my teenager daughter or my eldest daughter, because I have different ages as well. So it's not, when you enter the house, like it's not just a repetition, it's an experience. Like each room has something totally different than the other one, but at the same time, it's connected.
I feel like I'd have you over for dinner and I'd spend the whole time being like, don't look at that. I'm going to close the door on that room. Please don't look. But do you find yourself going into people's homes and being inspired by their individual style for your own and for clients? Where do you get your inspiration from?
I rarely do that, to be honest with you. My main inspiration, the main one, comes from, and maybe you will feel it's funny because it comes from God's creations. Like sometimes, the colors in a bird that I see on Insta or I see in a movie or something gives me ideas to choose certain colors and to blend certain colors in one of the areas. Sometimes fashion or my jewelry or how I mix, for example, gold with silver. I use this a lot even in my own house and in other people's houses, because there is, at a certain point of time, you felt that like white gold and silver was trending. And then immediately there is this shift in metallics to gold. And you started seeing everywhere like a gold finish and brass finish and all these stuff. So when I wanted to introduce gold in my house, let's say, I didn't want it to be just gold. So I said, okay, in jewelry, I mix white and brass, and I mix gold with white. So why not also mix it? And it was amazing. And I started applying this to also different houses. So the inspiration to me doesn't really come from other homes. Usually it comes from other elements. Sometimes I travel to a place and I see a detail. The detail, maybe it's something old, it's coming from classical, but suddenly in my mind, it turns to be like, oh, it can be like a nice top, or it can be like a nice frame for a mirror. So it goes into a different way of using this element or this design.
And that's also not chasing the trends, to come back to your idea about being timeless. You don't want someone to look back at their home and go, oh gosh, we were just buying what we were seeing on Instagram the whole time.
Exactly.
And the social media movements.
And I mentioned that before, in one of the panels and one of the talks. I really believe that we should not follow trends 100%. We should take hints from the trends and mix and match in a way that whatever we're designing and we're creating, it's something that can last and can fight time. Because following the trend will last only for 4 or 5 years, and that's it. And you will start feeling the urge to change.
Because it's not authentic to you.
Exactly. You're just following a trend that you liked, you saw, you loved, and you feel, oh my God, I want my house to look like that. But okay, you live in it, and then you will be bored of it. Once you will start seeing it everywhere. And then when you start seeing something different popping out here and there, you say, no, it's time to change. It's time to change. And this is part of sustainability as well. Because if we're going to talk about sustainability, it's not only about choosing the right material or choosing something that is eco-friendly or something that is in good quality that can last, but also it has to be a design and the mood that can stay with you for such a long time, where you will not be forced to change, to throw what you got and buy something new. So if you're going to talk sustainability, we have to think as well the way we design the spaces.
It's like the opposite of fast fashion, isn't it? This idea of the quick turnaround in the fashion industry. It, has often been parallels in interiors as well. But, we're around this beautiful table today, which could be in a home for decades and decades. And then It could be your daughter's table in decades to come.
Because it can be timeless.
And then it's bringing in the accessories. It's how can I make something feel current or it speaks to me in this moment.
True.
But down the line, it could be a different mood, it could be a different moment.
And this is also why I always advise that when you're creating homes, don't go too wild if you love one color or if you love something really so much and you want to, go super bold. And because I know that maybe after 1 or 2 years, you will be really bored of it. But if you really love colors, introduce it, but introduce it not in the main things. Introduce it in accessories, as you mentioned, cushions,
and artwork,
carpet, and beautiful artwork. These kind of stuff. Even artwork, you can change it. Like if your living room, you had this bold, colorful artwork, maybe later on you will take it, you'll put it somewhere else in another room, and then you can change without changing major things in the house. So always the wall cladding, the flooring, the piece of furniture you select should be timeless. And when I say timeless, it's not that it should be boring, or it's not that it should be classical or something like that. No, but it should have a certain criteria, a certain proportion, a certain shapes that can stay for long.
You've got such an expert eye and clearly such a passion for this area. I really, really value this. And as I said, I won't be inviting you to my house anytime soon. I don't know about you, Rick, this makes me want to go shopping. I'm thinking about, I'm doing a mental Rolodex of my home going, that would stay. She would like that. Rick, I want to come back to that record-breaking rental, because I think that part of Dubai actually, when we think about the future of how developments are going to work, can you explain a little bit about how Jumeirah Bay is different and how it's encouraging difference as well?
Yeah, I think, look, Jumeirah Bay, so you tend to buy a plot on Jumeirah Bay. You'll buy your family plot, and depending on what side it is, you'll either have sort of southern facing or you have northern out to sea facing. There's different values on those. But what then is really nice about it is you're building your own home. So every home feels a little bit differently. So you're not driving down the Truman Show where every single house is the same. Every house is bespoke. Every house is unique to the owner. And some of these they're wonderful properties.
I mean, presumably to a certain criteria and standard that needs to be signed off, you couldn't do something kind of truly wacky.
No, everything gets signed off.
But we think about other parts of the world, that is absolutely the case. It's different personality, it's different needs, it's different heights. So I think that's actually quite a lovely way of doing it. And in some ways more aspirational, in some ways that uniqueness and that innovation.
And many other communities and developers, what they are doing now, they are being more flexible. If you want to change your home from the outside, if you want to clad it or change the architecture of it, because this is the market need right now, and because they know that the price of the property, it's going high and higher when it's a bit different than the other one.
So uniqueness is in demand.
Many people I know personally, and some of them are my clients, they come to us not to build and to renovate their homes, but to do something so they can sell it with a high premium and high margin, and then make this profit from it. And the profit is coming from this, from taking a normal community villa. Of course, it has to be in a good location and highly ranked, but doing a beautiful makeover, changing everything, outside, inside, upgrading the whole thing, and then put it back in the market with a much, much higher price, where if they invested, let's say 5 million on that property, the return will be at least 10 million.
That's interesting because that really speaks to the customer, almost not dictating, but certainly demanding a little bit from the developer that more flexibility. Because for a long time it was going, well, you can't paint your villa unless it's this specific color and palette.
Is flexible.
Not everyone, but we're seeing more.
There's some we're facing hard time with them.
Charge you a lot to do.
Extremely high.
But what we are definitely seeing, there's a lot more plot sales activity happening over the last, say, 18 months, 2 years. So places like Jumeirah Bay, but also Le Maire, Jebel Ali Hills, Dubai Hills, Eden Hills. So there's lots of developers now offering the plot sale, and then you develop your own home within certain criteria, of course. But I think that is becoming more and more popular at different levels as well. It's not all the super, ultra luxury.
Yeah, different.
Different levels.
Oh, I love this. Watch this space.
Watch
Maybe
this
in 10
space,
years'
yeah.
time, we'll be talking about some of the amazing builds that we've had here in
But
Dubai.
that's also then, we touched on it earlier, it's also bringing in a new aspect into design and architecture.
Absolutely.
Into town. So we're seeing a lot of new burgeoning small design houses, architecture houses coming into the market as well, which is great.
I want to end by asking you to get your crystal balls out and start predicting the future a little bit. If we were going to sit down in 10 years' time and talk about design, about innovation, about creativity in homes, what do you think will be current at that point? What are you anticipating in the next 5 to 10 years?
I believe it will be more and more customizable, because luxury, I believe this is where it's going. For example, if you're a car collector or you love cars, so your villa is going to have this beautiful garage where your cars are displayed in a beautiful way, where your cars are interacting, and it won't look like a garage. And if you're someone else, you're an art collector, for example, it will be a totally different experience. So I believe the future will be a customization. Of course, the future when it comes to luxury and mansions and big homes, this is how it's going to be. And if you're someone who likes nature and who's connected with nature, you will feel that even the elements there are interacting with nature. You will feel the architecture itself, like the connection between the outdoor and the indoor, the huge windows, and the element used in the house. So this is how I see the future. I don't see it this what they show you in the movies and stuff, where everything is going to be robotics. And I don't believe that the future will be this robot opening the door and welcoming you. No, I truly don't believe that. But I do believe that the money will go where and on what you like the most, and what kind of experience you want to live, and also let your family live.
So reflective of your values and your intentions and
100%.
authenticity.
100%.
And Rick, what about you in terms of property in the next decade here in Dubai? As you said, we're seeing record numbers of high net worth individuals moving here. Are we going to see any slowing down on transactions, or any areas we should be thinking about investing in?
I genuinely think the next 10 years, Dubai will be part of that future, right? I think the momentum we have of people moving to Dubai, I can't see slowing down. And we talked earlier about some of the pull factors, the safety, the schooling, the lifestyle. There's also a lot of push factors out there, right? So there's parts of the world where people are looking to leave from and move from. And crucially, the world is becoming slightly more isolationist. The UK, parts of China, Hong Kong, America. Whereas Dubai and the UAE is going out of its way to welcome and bring people in here. And I think if that continues, I can't see any reason why it won't, the next sort of 10 years can carry on being a bit of a boom period. There'll always be ups and downs. Nothing's ever linear.
But long game. Thank you so much to Sawsan and Rick for those invaluable insights into the future of luxury homes, where design truly is meeting innovation. Those contributions are shaping the landscapes we live in, that we work in, that we interact in, making them not only luxurious, but also more attuned to our modern lifestyle here in the UAE. Be sure to join us next time on Beyond the Surface as we continue to uncover the depths of creativity and design. Until then, keep pushing the boundaries and redefining luxury. Thank you and goodbye.